Right, let's kick off another deep dive. Today we're tackling something a little different.
Oh.
Yeah. A tiny book,
Okay.
but with a huge reputation,
I like it.
called It Works, written by someone just known as RHJ
Okay.
back in 1926.
Wow, 1926, so that's
Yeah.
a while ago.
Yeah, it's almost 100 years ago.
Almost 100 years ago, you might have heard of it, seen it popping up on YouTube maybe recently.
I have, yeah.
It's having a resurgence.
It is.
And maybe for good reason.
Interesting.
Because this book claims to have the key to getting whatever you desire.
Oh,
We're talking like cars,
Right.
houses,
Okay.
even perfect health.
Right.
Just through the power of wanting it badly enough.
Right.
That's the claim.
That's a big claim.
Yeah, and to help us dig into this today, we have an expert in all things.
Oh,
Mind over matter.
thanks.
So I'm really eager to get your take.
Yeah, happy to be here. What do you think? What makes this book so interesting after, almost 100 years?
It's fascinating, right? I mean, it boils down to this simple idea that we all want to believe we can shape our own reality. Right. And the book lays out a formula, this clear 3-step plan to make that happen.
Okay.
But behind that simplicity,
Yeah.
there are all these ideas about the power of what RHJ calls the subjective mind,
Okay.
faith, and this force, he calls it the omnipotent power within.
Oh, okay. So that subjective mind thing.
Yeah.
We need to unpack that a little bit. So for those of us who, don't know that lingo.
Yeah.
What does that mean in the context of this book?
It sounds very kind of out there.
Yeah. It's a little esoteric.
Esoteric, exactly.
Yeah.
But basically what RHJ is suggesting is there's this part of our minds that works beneath the surface.
Okay.
Right? Beneath our conscious thoughts. This subjective mind, he calls it. And he argues that this part of our mind is super powerful.
Okay.
And connected to this universal force, this omnipotent power that he talks about.
Okay.
And by tapping into that deeper level of ourselves
Right.
and aligning our desires with that force, then we can manifest things.
Oh, so it's not just wishing upon a star.
Right.
It's about tapping into some...
It's like a hidden power.
Yeah, hidden power.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we all have this cosmic genie inside us.
Interesting.
But instead of rubbing a lamp, we're using our focused desire, our belief,
Okay.
to make the magic happen.
Okay, so you mentioned a 3-step plan.
I did.
Let's dig into that a little bit.
Okay.
What's the secret sauce, according to RHJ?
So it's surprisingly straightforward.
Okay.
First, you write down your desires in detail.
Okay.
Think of it like you're placing an order
Right.
with the universe, a
Yeah.
very specific order.
Okay.
And here's the interesting part.
Yeah,
You read this list 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night.
like a ritual.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the final step is you just think about your desires as often as possible.
Right.
Really keep them at the forefront of your mind.
Okay, that's interesting. It's very specific.
Yeah.
It's almost ritualistic in a way.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about the secrecy. The book is very clear about don't share this with anybody except the,
This omnipotent power.
yeah, this omnipotent power.
Yeah.
So what's the logic there? What's the thinking?
It's one of the things that stood out to me, too, when I first read it.
Okay.
Because RHJ is basically saying that talking about it
Yeah.
can actually make it less powerful.
Oh.
It invites doubt,
Right.
negativity from other people. That can get in the way
Right.
of the manifestation process. It's like this sacred agreement between you and this higher power.
Okay.
It's a secret. You can't break it.
So it's not just about positive thinking.
No.
It's about
protecting that positivity,
keeping it close.
containing it.
Yeah.
Like you're building this mental fortress around your desires.
Right.
Protecting them from outside forces.
So does RHJ offer any evidence that this works?
He does.
Okay.
He gives examples in the book, real-world examples. Absolutely, it works. It's packed with stories about everyday people who achieved their desires using this method.
Okay, like what?
So one example is this story of Jimmy. He's an office boy who wants this flashy red roadster.
Okay.
And Jimmy, he diligently follows the steps.
All right.
And lo and behold,
Yeah.
this car appears in his life.
Oh, wow.
It's a classic rags to riches story designed to really showcase the power of the method.
I can see why these stories would be compelling.
Right.
To people who are maybe
So to people who are
struggling.
Yeah, feeling stuck.
feeling stuck.
Yeah.
But I mean, is it all just wishful thinking?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
And it's where things get a little fuzzy.
Okay.
Because while the anecdotes are really inspiring, they aren't exactly scientific proof, but I think it appeals to people beyond just logic and evidence. Because deep down, we crave a sense of control.
Right.
We want to believe we can change our destiny.
Yeah, it's a very, very human thing to want.
Very human. It's like that feeling that we can actually like impact things, especially in a world that feels so chaotic.
Yeah. Unpredictable, out of control.
Out of control, yeah. In this book, it works. It's like it offers that little spark of hope. Like we're not just along for the ride.
We're not passive.
Yeah, we can
active creators.
So creators of our lives.
It really takes that. If you can dream it, you can do it.
Totally.
To a whole other level.
Absolutely.
But I'm wondering, does RHJ acknowledge any downsides to this like laser focus on personal desire?
It's a good question.
Yeah. Could it lead to maybe a more like self-centered view?
That's something that kind of hangs over the whole book.
Yeah.
Because while he talks about gratitude and recognizing this omnipotent power, he doesn't really dig into like the potential problems of just focusing on yourself.
Yeah.
And from a modern perspective, that's where people have issues because they argue that this like hyper individualistic approach could make people ignore the needs of others and create a sense of entitlement.
It makes you wonder if striving for things, even with good intentions, could it lead to
harm?
Yeah, unintentionally could it lead to harm? Could it lead to exploitation?
It's a valid concern because there aren't any clear rules in the book about the ethics of it.
Right, like manifest a new car.
Yeah.
But what about the impact of...
What about the environment?
Yeah, the environment or the workers who built the car. These are things...
He doesn't talk about that.
He doesn't address. So it seems like it works. While it has this message of like, potential and power.
Yeah.
It lacks...
It kind of misses.
The ethical kind of framework.
Yeah, the nuance for dealing with a complicated world.
Yeah, complex world. Exactly.
I think that's where like a modern perspective can help. We can take these ideas of belief and intention, but add in what we know now about ethics, social responsibility. Our actions impact other people.
So it's not about throwing the whole thing out.
No.
It's about
adding to it.
Yeah, like adding some key ingredients.
Exactly.
To make a better recipe. Yes. For a more like balanced approach.
A more ethical approach.
Yeah, to getting what you want.
Exactly.
Okay, so it works. They've been around for a while.
Almost 100 years.
Yeah, but it's popular again.
It is.
Especially online.
Yeah, it's having a moment.
Why do you think a book from 1926 is still speaking to people?
I think a few reasons.
Yeah.
Firstly, it's so simple.
Right.
And in a world where we're bombarded with information.
Yeah, overwhelmed, right.
It's like this oasis, this simple 3-step plan.
Yeah, it's like the easy way.
Yeah, it's like a shortcut.
A shortcut, yeah.
To success.
Right, yeah.
Bypassing all the messy stuff of life.
But it also taps into something deeper, right? This desire that we all have to be in control.
It speaks to that,
of our own destinies.
Exactly.
In a world where we feel powerless.
Yeah, so often. It's like
it whispers.
Yeah.
You have more power than you think.
Yeah. It's like a rebellion against helplessness.
Totally.
Yeah, okay, so speaking of skepticism, though, how do the ideas in this book...
Compared to like modern self-help manifestation stuff, are they really that different?
That's where things get interesting. Because on the surface, there are similarities.
Okay.
Both it works and these modern trends talk about positive thinking, visualizing, believing you can attract what you want.
But there is a key difference.
There is.
Okay, I'm all ears. What is it?
It's the source of the power.
Okay.
It works, is very rooted in spirituality.
Okay.
This omnipotent power within is like the engine behind it all.
Okay.
It's almost like self-help meets religion.
Interesting.
Like you're tapping into something bigger than just yourself.
A universal force.
Yeah, like you're asking a higher power for help.
It's like a collaboration.
It is.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of these modern techniques are more about psychology.
Okay.
Affirmations.
Right.
Visualizations.
Okay.
Retraining your subconscious. Less about this outside force.
So it's a shift from relying on something external to more like...
You are the source.
Yeah, you become the manifestation machine.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It reflects how our culture has changed. More self-reliance.
Okay.
A less religious approach to things. But even with those differences, they both share that core belief.
Okay.
Our minds affect our reality.
It's a powerful idea.
It is.
It's like that age-old question. Fate versus free will gets a new spin when you throw it works into the mix.
Definitely.
Because whether we're, tapping into this universal force or just using our own mind, this idea that we can shape reality.
It's powerful.
It's really compelling.
Yeah, it makes you question what's possible. And I think that's why it works is still so relevant. Like 100 years later, people are still talking about it.
Yeah.
Arguing about it.
Right. It makes you think about what you believe about reality.
Totally.
And the power of the mind.
Yeah, and what we're capable of.
Yeah, it's almost like the book is holding up a mirror and saying, okay, what do you want? What would you manifest?
If you could manifest anything.
Yeah, and what are you willing to do to get it?
Those are big questions.
They are, and they go beyond just the book.
They do. They get to the core of like why we do things.
Yeah, our ambition, our motivations.
That's how we see the world.
So we've talked about the downsides of focusing too much on what you want.
Right.
But what about the good stuff?
The benefits.
Yeah. Could there be like a positive side?
I think so.
To believing that your thoughts can impact reality?
Absolutely. Even if we don't believe in like manifesting a car or $1 million,
right?
There's a lot of power in just thinking positively. Like there are studies that show optimistic people tend to be more resilient. They have stronger immune systems.
Wow. So
they even live longer.
It impacts your health.
It can.
So whether it's a car or just a better outlook on life.
Exactly.
It seems like there's real value.
There is.
In believing in your ability to shape your experience.
I think that's the real takeaway from It Works.
Yeah.
It's not so much about the specific instructions. Okay. It's about that underlying message.
Yeah.
Our thoughts affect our reality.
Yeah.
And if we're aware of that, we can use it to create a better life.
So It Works is less like a step-by-step guide and more like a philosophy.
Yeah, it's like a prompt.
Okay.
It makes us think about the power of our minds,
right?
What might be possible
if we just believe.
Yeah,
it's an interesting way to look at it.
It is.
It's like an invitation to become
conscious creators of our own reality.
Yeah,
whether that's because of some universal power or just our own potential.
I think we've done a good job of breaking down this book.
I think so.
We've explored, the main ideas, the stories, the potential problems with it,
the criticisms,
and why it's still so popular.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It has.
Thinking about belief, desire,
the
power of the mind.
So for our listeners who are now wondering if they can manifest that red roadster, here's what we want you to take away. Don't underestimate the power
of your own beliefs.
Yeah, they can shape your reality.
In ways you can't even imagine.
And maybe that's the biggest mystery of all. The potential that we all have inside us, just waiting to be unlocked.
Absolutely.
A huge thank you to our expert.
Thank you.
For this amazing deep dive into It Works.
It's been a pleasure.
It really has.
I always love talking about this stuff.
And to all our listeners, stay curious.
Keep asking questions.
Keep those desires burning bright.
And keep exploring.
And until next time.
See you then.
Happy exploring.